So I'm a mechanical engineer, and I was I was always on those run of dreams which people used to say, right? My mom was so hellbent, and I never even rethought it that you do your engineering, then you do your MBA, and after your MBA, you're going to get a good job, you're going to be fine. And I never nobody really questioned this. So after my mechanical engineering, I gave my that you give the CAT. I got admission into some colleges, and at that time, all my friends were like, if you really want to get a good job after any of these IIMs and all, then you have to have work experience. So after that, I took up a job in finance, and one thing I really realized about finance is it's unnecessarily. I'm just giving my personal views here. I thought it was unnecessarily complicated for a very simple thing, and that's why it was very easy. Once you realize that they just make complicated names, but the concepts are all easy. But at that job is where I realized that this is exactly something that I never want to do for the rest of my life. I found it terribly boring, and and I say this in a few places actually. That's actually when I started thinking on what I wanted to do. In fact, that's when the thought came to me that every Sunday I used to hate my Monday. And this is something which I tell everyone, and I'm going to tell everyone who's listening also. In life, there are just too many Mondays, and don't go hating them all. That's actually why I rethought my whole life plan. Okay. And it was at a very tough juncture in my life, because I had achieved what I like to say every Indian mom's dream. I had I'll tell you why. I just got double promoted at the job I was in. I got admission again into some of the IIMs, and I was going to. So both ways, my mother was ecstatic, but I decided that I hated all of this, and I was going to take whatever little savings we had. Two of my colleagues at work also were interested, and I was going to do something that I enjoyed. Now, for me, I was a nerd. I knew every comic book or had every saga there is Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, the stories, backstories, And I realized this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. That is why we decided to start the Soul Store. There's also a more logical reason. The more logical reason is at that time, if I wanted to buy, say, one of the Lord of the Rings or Star Wars T-shirts, it costed 2-3 thousand rupees. Why? Because it was made in India or Bangladesh. It was sent to the US. It was imported back, and then you have to pay the dollar amount of that. All right. So, for me, I saw that clear market gap. In the US, these are 150, $200 billion industries. In India, it's nascent, and that is why I didn't. And the reason it was nascent is because there are a lot of fakes. But the way we thought of it is there are a lot of fakes because there are no real options, and I don't think buying a 2,000, 3,000 rupee product is an option in India. Like if your two options are 200-300 rupees versus 3,000, that's not an option. So that's the reason I thought that there was a great market gap, and we should take advantage of it, which is why we started. And yes, that's how we got it, the idea.
Great. I think that is great opening. Being the line that you said that Indian mom dreams. So those are the dreams which most of the engineers are having at the end of the day. Sometimes most of the engineers just get into engineering just because their parents push them or the society is pushing them, and then the 4 years are vacation for most of the people. And then they realize, okay, ab 4 saal ho gaye, now let us move on and now explore something else. So that's the same story across a lot of people. Soul searching is somebody who is writing. So 4 years of soul searching. That's okay. So Harsh, other thing is you were a mechanical engineer and then you moved to finance. And again, then you are just now in your role where you are into other business. So how do you see that change happening? So being a mechanical engineer, then getting into finance, and then again learning new thing, and then again doing new things. So where does that hunger come from?
So one, that's not hunger. That's absolutely not hunger. I think that's a mistake. I just when you talk about, I like switching my roles because I wanted to know what it is about. Okay, it wasn't really about doing. I didn't want to like dominate the finance world or the mechanical engineering world. The reason I did mechanical engineering is because my mom said engineering, and I love cars. Like took part in a lot of competitions and things of that sort. Uh, The reason I did finance is because it seemed like something very interesting, and numbers come very easy to me. So I was like, fine, finance seems the right job. I was very good at it. I just hated it. There's a difference in the two. That's why I got promoted. I know I'm sounding a little arrogant there, but what I'm trying to say is that's not hunger. The hunger actually was that I didn't enjoy it and I wanted to change it. I think that was the hunger, like taking a gamble where from financial stability to having practically no money for the next 2 3 years. And I mean, and if things didn't work out, you would have no money for even longer.
Yeah.
That is where that's actually the hunger. That's when you because that's where you gamble on yourself, and that's the difference. I think people always keep changing. In fact, one of the other co-founders is a lawyer, became a tattoo artist, went back to becoming a lawyer, and then joined the Soulstone. So it's and I think that's the mindset that you require when you want to actually be a little successful. I'm not saying it's a necessity. I'm not saying please do not take this for saying change your jobs, but the mindset is take a risk at any point. Go out of your comfort zone, and that's something that's really important because in our society, people always tell us what we are and what we're going to be. Even like whether you think of a very deep level on the caste and those systems, or whether you think of a more shallower level where your mom is like, earn some money and get a
Yeah.
good things of that nature. So it's not it's very simple that all you have to think is let's take risks and let's do what we like. It's simple, but it's hard from where we are because most people are going to say you are stupid to do what you're doing.
Yeah. So I think you would have heard that a lot. And when you started off at that point, I think there was no support that it is just now for people starting up. And there was no word called startup at that time. I think in 2000, at the early to the decade when you started off. So was there any support that you gathered from around, or were the people helpful to you, or what was your experience in your initial 2 3 years? Because just now we have a lot of incubators there, accelerators are there, who
It's
are there.
correct. It's a little different now. Definitely, the ecosystem has evolved, right? And it's
Yeah.
evolved because there's a need for it. I'm not so. I definitely didn't start right in the beginning where there was nothing. The word startup was already there. There were some VCs. We did not have VC funding back then, but there were some
Yeah.
VCs also. So that slightly built out. But today, if I had to start an e-commerce company, everything is laid out. There are websites that do this for you. Courier companies and logistics are so much smarter today. Back then, I had to write everything with hand, and because the system's only available by say Amazon or something of that sort.
Yeah.
COE was just coming in, things of that nature. So today, a lot of everything is laid out on a platter from e-commerce starting point of view, but that's also why we have an advantage, right? Because we
Mhm.
started at an earlier time when competition there was competition, but it was way lesser than what it is today. Today, it's
Yeah.
much easier being a bigger company and not being with the crowd below, I would like to say. But there were a lot of difficulties when you start out a small business. When you say, was there support? I don't know. I didn't really look for it. I think at home there wasn't. My parents were not happy, as I said. But I didn't really look much for support. We each had all the savings we had, we put into the business, which was all three of us combined could put in about 5.5 lakhs, 5.25 lakhs. I remember the number. Each
Okay.
of we put it in. We worked out of our one of our friends. His uncle had some CA firm, so out there was one cabin which was free, about 100 200 square feet cabin with 4 tables, and there were cabinets like you can see the one with the books behind, something like that. That was a
Okay.
filing cabinet. So that filing cabinet is where we kept all our t-shirts because that's all the inventory we had. We bought about I don't know about some 600 t-shirts that we kept it and we worked out of that. That's where we started from. So we started from there. We eventually realized that small cabin was too small, so we moved to a chawl. From a chawl, we moved to a garage. The garage was the third move actually for us, uh,
Okay.
because you realize rent in Mumbai is
Way too high.
unreasonable. And yeah, and then slowly we grew.
Okay. So what were your initial things that you used for marketing? Because why I'm asking this question is most of the people just now when they start, they always search for the audience. and once you build that audience, then it is, I think, much easier to sell them something. But how did you start in the initial way? So what were your tricks?
So I made a lot of mistakes also. I mean,
Yeah.
besides my, but when you're small, the positives are less and the negatives are also less. You know? You're gambling with like there's no real repercussion. I'll tell you one thing: if you start any business, and I mean any business, start becoming and selling dosas also. The first 1 2 weeks will actually go amazing. You don't even have to market because your friends, your friends of friends, your family, and so on and so forth. Everyone will actually come and buy. I call these pity purchases because they're literally buying it out of pity for your new business. All right. It's actually the third or fourth week onwards when you realize, oh shit, I'm just a small business that nobody's heard of. And this is where you actually have to do things better and different from everyone else. It is very demotivating because after seeing how the first 2 weeks go, you feel ironclad. You think nothing can go wrong, and then there's such a cliff in the sales and orders. And this, I would expect this with any business before it starts picking up naturally. Um, that cliff can be very demotivating where you like for us we went to into like office and or whatever cabin and we saw like there was one order in the day, some days there were none, you know. and
Yeah.
uh, and that used to get on you, and that's when you actually when you have no other option you start doing things which are slightly more different. There are a lot of things which I've learned about marketing, but back then what helped us is two three things. One, we had realized that there are a lot of people selling a certain type of funny t-shirts anyway, so don't
Yeah.
go up, create your own niche. And that's what we started with. Our first license was the Friends TV show. Okay. Nobody was doing it. It was right in the middle place. It wasn't so like it wasn't a Batman and Superman, which there were many fakes and many people were doing it, and it wasn't something so niche that nobody understood. We thought Friends was right in that Goldilocks zone, and that's why
Yeah.
that was the license that we got because it was cheaper. So, and that got us a first audience and so on and so forth. So that was the first strategy. The second strategy when we started off with is the cheapest way to get known is by letting someone who's already known say, here's the soul store. What I mean by that is, I know that's a little complicated. What I mean by that is, we decided we'll tie up with bigger people who are already well known. So instead of trying to market ourselves, we tied up with comedians. We tied up with AIB. We tied up with Kenny Sebastian. He's another comedian. We
Yeah.
tied up N87 Music Festival, became their official merchandisers, and we made no money off them because they like we it was very hard to bargain. But the amount of customers, views, goodwill, endorsements that pseudo endorsements that these guys got by saying, "Hey, get my official merchandise at the Soul Store." That's what actually made it cheap. Today, to get 1 million views is a very expensive ordeal. But if AIB says it in the video, that's free. Plus, you
Yeah.
make money of their merchandise. All right. So that is that. I think that is the jump that we got. Everyone has like one moment which they need to propel the business. For us, it is tying up with all these people and telling them, "You talk about us, and we'll give you a royalty for it." And that's what worked for us. You have to be different. If you do the same thing as everyone, then you're going to have the same battle.
Yeah. So most of the people who go into, they read something and then they go into herd mentality, that these are the checklists that they have to do to get a successful e-commerce thing, or maybe a t-shirt company, or those kind of things. Because I think that was very unique on your part, your journey, that you did something different, and that is why you are standing out in market today. So let us take few questions which people are having. I will insist everybody to write down their questions in the chat, in the question answer segment. So we have a question from Prithvi. One is, can you explain how you started? I think that was taken up. So who used to design the t-shirts in the beginning? And did selling shirts and mugs were your plan in the initial days?
It was. It was. So we started off with 3 or 4 products, and now we have a whole range of it. I like the idea of who designed the t-shirts in the beginning. Well, when you're three people from the same background, all engineers who did finance, it was very simple. Literally, it was like, okay, I am good at finance, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Those are the easy ones. The tough ones are okay, who's going to do the marketing, who's going to do the designing? No one was good at it. So it was just like, okay, I do the designing. If you want to know
Okay.
the ones, I was terrible at it. Now that I look back, I'm like, wow, I would. I would have been extremely aggressive if someone submitted that design to me today. Um, so, but
Yeah.
yeah, I did. You just do it. What's important is if you care about it enough, you will do something all day, all night till you can get it good enough. Okay, that is the most important thing. Like there was no, I didn't know marketing. I had no marketing background. What's important is the amount of reading I did online to just see what people did, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, and then take out my own understanding out of it. There's no shortcut to it. There's absolutely no shortcut to it. And that's the difference. All the designing was done by me. At that point, someone else did something else. Rohan
Yeah.
did all the customer care. I used to pack the orders also. So it's something that you all just do whatever you need to do. If you care about it enough and you work hard enough, you'll be at least half good, and that's good enough sometimes when you start a business.
Yeah. So mostly outsourcing those things always comes in a cost sheet. So if we do it and if we are dedicated enough, I think we will be able to do it more than what average person can do. That is what I have realized.
I mean, average as an average for me, right? But like if a designer just designed it, it would be much better. That eventually
Yeah.
did happen. I don't sit and design them now because I would be terrible at it. Some like there are like really good designers who do the designing.
Yeah. So, taking things from the design, which was the first design that you, as a company, saw that yeah, this has taken us to a next level, or this is going like crazy, and people are liking that design a lot. So, which was your first design that you thought, "Okay, this is breaking the barrier," or your first million views, what people call in the stand-up thing? So, this was my first million view one.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so for me, the we just got this license, and the first design. This is not a good question though, but this first design was so Iron Man has an arc reactor. Now, what the thought process I did, and everyone has copied it now, was we made it glow in the dark, and that was our million views. That one design out of 100 was more than half our sales for like 2-3 months. So that would be the one. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I will take few more questions from the audience, and then again I have some questions I will be asking them. Okay. So Deep Shah is having a question. I am sure that at once you realized after leaving your job. So in the dilemma of keeping, okay, kept you going and kept you telling us. Okay. So the question is, after you left your job.
That is it.
Yeah.
Um, so one, I there were many days I was like, what have I done? Because the first 3 to 6 months, while you're getting started, and every business has a different trajectory, so never compare yourself to anyone. But the first 3 to 6 months were terrible. Like I didn't know what I was doing, nor did the other co-founders. Things were not moving as you predicted it. You don't understand any engineers out there or whatever. If you see mathematical models, you may have like 8 variables or 10 variables, but in life there are infinite, and you cannot predict what's exactly going to happen. So uh, it was very hard. What I did for the first 2 years is I started. There's a college close by. It's famous. It's called HR College of Commerce in Mumbai. I think it's like the number one college or something. But since it was close, I just went and asked, "Can I teach every morning, like part time every morning as a visiting faculty?" And they said yes. I couldn't believe it because that's the first time they saw my face, and they just asked, "How? What will you like to teach?" I said math, and they were like, "Okay, why do you think you're good at math?" I said that I think engineering math is a little tougher, and I'm good at that. And then I'd also gotten I got it. I got 99.99 in the CAT, which for a commerce student is amazing. So they were like, "Fine, you have the job," and that's what I did to get money while this was going on. So every morning, from not every morning, but 3 times a week, from about 8 to 10 a.m., I used to go there, I used to teach, and that was my learning. Teaching also helps you become a better leader and a better speaker. None of these skills I didn't have, you know. And you also realize how when a student copies, everyone can see it.
So you realize once you are also a student, and you know that yeah, this is the thing that
Yeah, I
yeah.
used to be so smart that nobody could see, but you can see. You just don't want to say it. Like Everyone is copying. Like, what do you even say? You'll just be like, shut up, stop copying once or twice. But people are going to copy. They do all that. But you're not an idiot.
That's a great learning. Okay, so Rudra has a question. How did you build a sustained customer loyalty while shifting the perception of buying things online?
Very tough, actually. Customer loyalty is even tougher online than offline, because offline, geographically loyalty is built. Since,
Yeah,
let's say I want to buy Ruffle Lays, I know which shop I'm going to go to. I'm not going to go to a shop which is three buildings away.
true.
Um, Online, a click can just take you from one place to another. So loyalty is much tougher online. You can compare prices much easier. You can. The second tough part about online loyalty is that quality cannot be compared. Only prices, which is very frustrating sometimes because the doesn't sell quality but sells the price. Uh, what we did is we made sure that we are not selling a product. We made sure that we are selling ourselves, which is we are fans, you're a fan, let's enjoy fandom together. And that otherwise I would be competing with a Mintra or an Amazon. So for example, there was this campaign, if you bought a Harry Potter t-shirt, you would get a custom admission letter from Professor McGonagall saying, dear Sahil, you've been accepted into Hogwarts. It looked exactly how it was in the movie. So
Yeah,
it was a surprise. So things of this nature actually made the customer realize that, okay, this is pretty cool. These guys are cool. They're a fun startup, and I would like to, associate and order more from them. Another thing we've seen right now is that we've started our an exclusive membership program. The reason we started that is simple: be a member, and uh, and we'll give you discounts as long as you're a member. This now there's a math behind it. This discount is cheaper than the cost of customer acquisition, which is the biggest cost for any online company,
yeah,
right? The second math to it is because once you have a membership, there's a psychological play. You don't go exploring elsewhere. You just see what you have. Like so. Yeah, that's the how we try and build loyalty. I'm not going to discuss the basics that have to be there. Like the product has to be good, your delivery has to be there. You have to have good service. Our
yeah,
customer care is also pretty fun. Now it's slightly more formal, but before it used to be, if you ordered Star Wars, they would end the call with "May the Force be with you," things of that sort. So
yeah.
it was very tailored, and it was a way in which we were on top of the mind of the customer.
That's it. So when we call the concept of fandom in India, so what is your take on that? You would have seen a shift from the days you started and today. Avenger is earning so much, and the first day it is earning around 50 crores. So there is audience which is trying to see, but then when we see people reading the comics and those kind of things, getting into nitty gritties, the base is very low. So what do you think? Is that increasing, or how do you see the change in the past few years that you have been?
Definitely increasing, right? And there are two or three reasons out here. One is the amount of content that's being created is a lot more. Like, at least when I was a kid, maybe a superhero movie would come once every 2 years or 3 years. I think Spider-Man was the first big
Yeah,
one,
Spider-Man. Hmm.
Tobey Maguire. And but now it's there every 2 months or 3 months. So the amount of content is increasing. And I'm not just talking about superheroes. I'm talking about all of it, right? If you see Netflix, the number of shows that are there, there's a new show every other day, and pretty like with a large viewership. So content is increasing, content consumption is increasing thanks to all the online players, which wasn't
Yeah.
there before. Right before, it would be that one movie you went to, but now it's just like, oh, I can just see these 18 shows which I would never see.
Hmm.
And the third thing is it is going across, it's no more an elite thing, it is now across an economic spectrum. Before, maybe reading comic books would be a very, it's not available to everyone. Like probably someone sitting in tier 2 or tier 3 cities would not have these western comic books, but now you do,
Yeah.
because you're just sitting on and watching on all these OTT platforms. That's why I think this official merchandise is something that's increasing. There is a good shift that's happening from a business side, which I don't want to get into. It's the licensing. People are becoming more organized in India, which because they didn't see potential before, now they do. And thirdly, I think the other official merchandise is sports, which is super nascent, and we want to take advantage of that. We have four of the eight IPL teams on board,
Yeah.
and we feel like if you go abroad, like if you go to say Europe with the football teams or USA
Yes.
with the
Yes.
NBA team, if
NBA.
you're on that team, you'll have not one jersey, you'll have all 10 or 12 and this
All the
version.
seasons. Yeah.
And
Away and home.
so that's something that is a cultural shift that has to happen in India. And while it's happening, we want to be there. If you wait for it to happen, you're late.
Got it. So there are few more questions around the same segment that we're discussing. So how there is a question with by Meet Shah. So how does the Soul Store deal with the competition?
How do I can't deal with competition? How do I deal with competition? The competition is going to do what they do, right? I can't be like, okay, I'm going to deal with these guys. How do we separate ourselves from the competition? Is one, you got to know what you're selling and what your USP is, and you never turn away from it. So I'll tell you why this dilemma comes a lot of times, and it's very hard. Trust me, it's super hard. The objective is, I never ask, we never ask ourselves, how are we going to become 50% more or 30% more next year or 80 or 100%, whatever the growth is. We always ask ourselves, how are we going to become 1,000 crore company? That's always the question. Okay, because that way you'll never waver on what you're trying to achieve. And
Yeah.
that's extremely important because short-term gains can affect your brand in a long way. Like, for example, people were like, you should do masks. So we are selling masks, but we're donating everything to charity. Any money we make, we donate it because we aren't mask manufacturers. We are doing this to help the country. Okay. But the competition and everyone I would consider far of competition, not just selling masks, they're selling N95, gloves, and hand sanitizers. And I'm wondering, where is the brand in this? At this point, you're just selling whatever you can, right? And
Yeah.
uh, and that's something I don't understand. Maybe you'll get a short-term gain. Okay, my cash flow is safe, and I am having cash flow difficulties at a time like this. But where is the long-term brand vision? At the end of the day, when you're a bigger company, people will be like, okay, why don't you start selling soap also? And then I'm just going to think, why? Like, investors will always push you to do these kind of things sometimes, but keep that long game and you'll make better decisions that way. Don't chase these small highs that you get.
True. I think we most of the speakers that we are going to get are going to push on this aspect a lot. Yesterday also we had the same kind of thing, and they said that be what you are, be true to that self, and don't try to do things which everybody else is doing just to make some short-term gains.
Absolutely, right? So this is the issue which we face now, but I'll tell you where the biggest challenge comes in. Okay, the biggest challenge comes in what kind of designs to sell. Now, unfortunately, every brand has its niche. I'm going to be very frank. Our niche
True.
is slightly, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's slightly westernized. To some extent, with our Indian content, that is the IPL, and we have these Indian comedians and all. But what I mean by this is we are not crass. So I know that I'll give you an example. I know that T-shirts like saying Babaji ka Tullu would have sold, or are you getting what I'm saying? Or some very
Yeah.
Hindi slang would sell a lot more. Now the problem is I don't think you can make. Firstly, our brand doesn't stand for it, but I don't think you can make a 1,000 crore company. I don't think you can make a big brand. You can't make someone that I would aspire to wear. Like I won't be like I'm wearing the soul, so I'm proud of it. If I write, I don't know, some crap on it. I'm not saying no Hindi. We have some Hindi t-shirts which I love. My favorite t-shirt is actually powered by Maka Ashirwad. Now it's funny and it's witty. I like it, but I'll never put like माँ का दूध पिया है तो बाहर आ जा on a t-shirt.
Understood. So there needs to be a line drawn for every brand that you cannot go below that level. Maybe if you get more mass also, is what I can get from it. It won't be sustainable.
Absolutely right. And another thing is, it's not about going below or going above. Let's not get there. Every business is a good model, but it's about going where you're going. Now, if we start selling going above, if you think like, okay, let's start selling bags which are like 50,000 rupees and like be like Gucci, that's also not going to work. It's about creating what you have set out to create. And I don't mean like we never pivot. We will always keep changing our mind and realizing that this is better, this is a good place, but we won't do it for a short term gain. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Great. So I will take few questions. Akshay Thakkar is asking a question. What is the main point or thing on which everyone has to empathize who wants to be an entrepreneur? So something that you would like to share. So it is at 4:19 p.m. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get that question. What would
So
I?
what is one thing that you will say that being an entrepreneur, I think that is required. The one element that you think should be there.
I don't think. Okay. Firstly, I am not sure if there's any magic role out here. Like I don't think there's a skill set, but there's a frame of mind. All right. Now, what I mean by frame of mind is you start questioning things. You don't take things for granted. But the toughest thing is you have to work hard. You take failures and you learn from them when things go wrong. And I can get into 100 examples of all of these. All right. It's also things like how you take feedback and you learn from it. There are a lot of people who will, if you tell them, okay, listen, I think your product is too expensive, they'll be like, no, no, that's what it is. And I'm sure people will pay. But you have to learn from it. And it's a mentality. I would not say it's a skill set. Like I don't think I have any skill set, by the way. I can't code. I am not a textile guy. I'm not a marketing guy. I have no real skill set. But one thing I have is the thought process that I want to learn as much as I can, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to achieve what I want. Um, that's super important.
Great.
Doing it for the right reasons also, not just money. You will, because that's when you chase the short term high.
Yeah. So most of the people who go long term have that thing in. This is the element which is common in most of the people who are thinking long term. So that is there. Uh,
Right?
yeah. So these are few things I think as an entrepreneur, if you have that right mindset, it will help you go long term. And if there are tough times like today, we are also facing this situation of COVID. So how is as a team, your team dealing with the whole thing? So there will be a lot of backslashes also, no sales and those kind of things. Only few things are getting sold. So how are you dealing as a team during this crisis?
So two things. Okay. Um, this was a very tough time for us to do it because we were actually looking to raise a round in May because our sales are highest in March, April. So that would be the best time to raise a round. That's why we had depleted most of the money. Now, having money in the bank is pointless because it should be working for you. So
Yeah.
we had stocked up on a lot of summer wear. We stocked up on a lot of IPL merchandise, which is not happening, or may happen later in the year. So for us, we all when the lockdown happened, it was detrimental. Like we couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, our cash flows just stopped. Uh, the way the team deals with it is was very simple. We had two things that were straight. One, we decided we will not fire anyone. But so I had a very honest uh, plea to the whole team, and I did this. I did not do this over an email because I think that's really wrong. So I did this like a video conference like this with each and every department, and it was a simple plea. I told them I'm going to have to cut salaries. The reason I'm cutting salaries is so that I don't have to fire anyone. Even the people who were on notice period, we decided not to let them go because letting someone go at a time like this, he would be perpetually jobless till this gets over. And that's at the end of the day, we didn't start this to treat people like machines.
Commodities. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something you can just acquire and let go. So, and everyone took this positively. We have no, at least that's what I think. Obviously, behind my back, what people say, I don't know. But I remember that some of the people just messaged saying that we're so happy that you've taken this decision of not letting people go. Cutting salaries is definitely the better way. So we cut about 30% salaries. I'm being very candid here. But that's the I just think that everyone is more motivated. People are working harder, it seems, at home because they feel that this is the time the company actually needs them to step up. And because we are there for them, they have the attitude that they're going to be there for us. Culture is one of the most important things that you can have in your business, and it's very easy to break it, and it's very tough to build it. So that's something that you should start as from day one. Culture, because culture is, it's a set rule, right? Culture can evolve, but what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, are always set rules from the beginning. For example, you can you can come late, but if you lie about coming late or something of that sort, that's not acceptable. So we have some very strict rules that are about, just being a nice human being, and that's what it takes to be a soul star culture team.
Great. So I think that was a very valid point on culture segment. So coming on our next question with that, how did you build your initial team? So what I have seen in the things that we have done also. So there are different ways when you lead a team of 10, and then the whole thing changes when there is a team of 50, because then you are not the person who is delegating everything. There are people around you, and how do you communicate those things at the bottom of the chain also? And how does that culture remain the same till the last point also? What were your tricks that you used in the initial days?
So I've seen that, okay, there's no right answer to this, but what I'm going to tell you is simple. One, I did this wrong, but so I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you how I did it wrong, but I think I'll go on what we should have done right. Our first, the first person who we added to our team was after 7 months to pack orders. So for the first 7 months, we were packing orders. All right, and then eventually we realized that we need another team for it, and we started doing everything ourselves. I think the first 2 3 months, 2 3 years, the biggest mistake we did is we literally tried to do everything ourselves until we couldn't. Now, that's the wrong way of going about it, and you should never do. Delegation is one of the hardest things to do as an entrepreneur. I come to it why, but try and delegate much earlier on. That's a, if I could look back, I would delegate from day one. I would have gotten a team so that you can concentrate on the bigger things. Like if I start concentrating on packing an order correctly or
Yeah.
cleaning the office correctly, then it takes away time from a more I would say, I won't say important because that's not true. All of it is important from a more influential task at which I would be good at. That is that's what I learned. Uh, why is delegation hard? Because you'll realize since you know the company, you know the business for the last 3 years, you'll always do better than everyone else. And I still face this problem. You, at least in your head, you're doing it better than everyone else. So it's very hard to make people here. Why don't you start and do it? The other part is, how do you build that culture from 1 to 10? I think it's important, and I've seen this because I'm seeing this from different co-founders and different startups. If you lead by example, if you are the hardest working guy in that room, everyone's going to work hard. Nobody is going to, if you come in every day early morning, leave late, nobody is going to feel okay leaving, coming in early and leaving early, or coming in late and leaving early. Sorry. I think that's the number one thing for like setting rules. You have to lead by example. You have to say, I'm okay with this, I'm not okay with this. And you never break your own rules. Never be an exception. For example, if let's say something very stupid, right? If you're supposed to wash your own coffee mug, I got to do it myself. Or you can't be an exception to a rule. And that's, I think, when culture truly fits in. Because when there are no exceptions, that is how it is, and that's how one becomes 50. Okay, I think Sal's dropped out for some reason. Or have I dropped out? I don't know. Maybe I can read through these questions and I can answer more. How are you marketing during the lockdown to keep your customers with you? Can I get an emoji reaction just to know that you guys can hear me? Okay, thanks. How are you marketing during lockdown to keep your customers with you? Very, very important, right? Now, here's the thought which we had in the first week. Marketing can be of one of two ways. Okay, either it can be to sell a product or it can be to increase your brand. Why do you increase your brand? You increase your brand so you can sell products for the future as well. Okay, so the aim is always to sell. We know I'm not going to be very idealistic about it. But because we are not going to do sales ads, we decided that the communication for the next, till the lockdown ends, till we can really start shipping, is going to be primarily on branding. And that's what we concentrated on. We made sure that we discuss about why the Soul Store is the Soul Store, what we believe in, why we like what we do, and things of that nature. We had three campaigns during this period, and let's break them down. The first campaign was, and I know that an IIM student actually from IIM Indore actually took this as a case study, was we were very honest about a discount that we were giving. And that honesty was this: hi, we're the Soul Store. Our sales are really low during this lockdown period. And because our sales are low, we are giving this 30% discount. And please buy from us at a discounted rate and we'll ship it out once the lockdown opens. The frankness of this actually made people buy. We got decent sales during this lockdown to keep that cash flow churning. And it is sometimes being frank in your marketing actually gives the customer a lot more comfort. They relate to us also because we are like, obviously, we are a startup and you also have tough times. So it's a win win situation that we did. All right, very simple. Second, the mask thing. I think I already spoke about it, but I'm going to give you the thought process. We can make masks, okay? We started making it and giving it for free to the police. Uh, and then we wanted to eventually sell it to people. But we again came the branding that if we sold masks, how do we how do we maintain what we are? And the thought process was simple. Let's not do this for the money, let's do this for the country. So we started making masks, we started giving it for free. Whatever surplus we had with the capacity we made, we started selling it online. Now, to make sure that your online sales are making sense, we sold each mask for about 100 rupees. But we were very clear. Whatever profit we make goes to PM cares. Simple. Um, so one, we are engaging with the customer. Two, the customers on our website, on our platform, he's buying from us. And three, uh, the country is getting what it needs. You know, everyone wins. There's another campaign we're going to launch. I think it should be launching now while we are having this discussion or a little later in the evening. And that is, how do we get people again to engage with us? It's a very simple plea. We've realized that we want to help. We know our motive. We don't want sales right now. We want to help the country. Okay. And that's the only reason we'll even communicate to the customer. So, what we have a video message, and this time the video is actually me, that let's donate to those who are hungry right now. Clearly, there's a problem in the country. There are a lot of people who need food, and food is something that's so basic. And the thought came because I kept trying to donate, and I realized eventually I'm one person. How much ever I donate, there's a limited impact I can have, and how much ever I tell people. But if the Soul Store tells people, I think that impact can be much higher. So it was a very simple math, and that's the math. Again, it's the clarity in the math that we are giving. We are 18 lakh Soul Stores till now. If each one of us donates 100 rupees, we can feed 3.5 lakh families. Now, if people are buying t-shirts for 500 rupees and the average order value is 800, so clearly you have money. Just give 100 rupees, and for your 100 rupees, 3.5 lakh families will benefit. The second thing that we told people, and here's where we became a little selfish. How does this help us? We told everyone that if you donate worth 100 rupees, we'll give you 100 reward points in your account. All right. With these 100 reward, yeah, hi Sahil. With these
Hi.
100 reward points, we know that they'll come and buy a much bigger product, which will be about 500, 600. Technically making it a discount of 100 rupees on a bigger product. So what happens? One, we get customers who are engaging with us. Two, they're donating money. All the money they donate go directly to the government. Three, the customer's happy because he's not just doing something good. We are getting 100 rupees. Four, to use these 100 rupees, he's going to go to our website and he's going to buy a product which will be about 600 rupees, which gives us revenue and the customer a discount. Everyone wins. We come out as a good brand. And so that's the thought process. That's why we were very clear on what we want to achieve during this lockdown.
Great. First of all, I would like to say sorry for the internet connection. I lost that. And thanks a lot, Vedang, for taking it forward in a very smooth way. So I think that was a question for what you are selling just now. Is was just
Yeah.
catching up.
How do you market during the lockdown?
Yeah. Okay. So for the same, I think I also had a few questions in mind for in the next stages of marketing.
Sure.
So after the lockdown opens, there will be a lot of things which will be coming back from the people, that they won't be buying a lot of things in that way. So some things are there which are for luxury. Some things are like vitamins, and some are necessities. So, what do you think? Will there be a slowdown in the things that people will be buying in the coming days?
So it depends, right? Let me break this down. Um, One, we are a discretionary spend for sure. If if we are also giving salary cuts, I know everyone is like, I know all the startups that are doing it, and practically that's going to happen. People are going to also be laid off in some other companies. People are going to be out of a job. It's going to be tough. So we are a discretionary spend, and that's going to take a hit. There are two. That's the negative. Even after the lockdown opens, that is, there are two or three positives that we see, and we're going to focus on that. One very positive thing is we sold more boxers during the lockdown, even though they're not shipping. And I mean boxer as in like boxer shorts, like underwear, during the lockdown than before the lockdown. Why? Because when you're at home, that's what you wear.
Yeah,
So focus will be on selling our products as stuff you wear at home. T-shirts you wear at home. We're going to make loungewear joggers that you wear at home and boxers as you wear at home. So that's the advantage we are going to take. The second advantage that we see is there's going to be a clear shift from offline to online. Let's make use of that. The third thing, which is a little short term, is as soon as the lockdown ends, there's going to be a rubber band effect of all the demand that is pent up for the last 40, 45 days whenever it ends. So I do see a big blip when it starts. It will eventually taper off. And yes, it's not going to be as good as what it was in the short term. But in that instant when it opens up for those first 1 2 weeks, that demand that is needed, where people just need new clothes because of staying at home or whatever it is, we want to take advantage of that. So these are the two three things. So have we all we've already made all our creatives. We already have a plan of action that as soon as the government says start, we know what our launch plan is. What are we going to focus on when we launch? We're going to focus on one or two things, which is one, the precautions and the safety we take, like everyone in the warehouse is screened with their temperatures, etc., etc. Two, what we're going to focus on is about how our products are better suited for using and wearing at home, like how I am, you know.
great. Leading by the example in that segment.
So,
Okay. So let us take the next question. So we have taken off future plans. I think Mohit, your question has been asked and answered by Vedang very nicely. We have Sid who is asking a question. How do you plan to expand more than when you have a lot of competition just now? Because a lot of people will be buying, copying what you are doing currently, and then every day there are 5 or 6 new startups which are coming and selling T-shirts and those kind of things. So how do you see them as a or even if you do see them as a competition in that way or not, or you are on your own track only, as we discussed in the earlier thing, or does that affect at all?
all right. So, at the risk of sounding super arrogant, I don't really see much competition in what we are. There's a very big gap if you think about it in the Indian youth brand, which is going to make it big. Like, can you think of like okay, you aspire for Nike, right? You
Yeah.
aspire like these are aspirational brands. Even Uniqlo, people would wear it and they wear the logo across the chest. I don't see that in the youth segment. Nobody's going to take West Side and put it across the chest and be like West Side, but you put the tick. Now that's a gap that I see. That is why I think the branding is super important for people to want to aspire to be. I'm not saying we are there yet. From no stretch are we there yet. But that is what we have to build on. And that's why the short term gains are not something that we want to work on. You know?
Okay, great. So there is a question from Prerna, which is, you don't advertise that much as other e-commerce sites are doing. So how do you manage to promote your brand in that way?
So we do advertise. I don't know how much is what other brands do. I mean, I know some brands, but I'm not aware of what she's referring to.
Okay.
The We do advertise. That is our number one way of actually getting customers by advertising online. There's a very good advantage of an online advertising versus offline. For example, if I was selling, say, a Harry Potter T-shirt or a WWE T-shirt in, say, Shoppers Stop, out of
Yeah.
100 people that walk in, maybe two or three would even look at it and understand what it is. Um, Online, you can actually target exactly that fan. You can say, I'm going to show this Harry Potter T-shirt to only Harry Potter fans. How do you know? Because on Facebook there are many interests, Facebook, Google, all of this. So you can actually target those people. You can target people from a certain age group, whether they've studied, not studied, a certain area, location, anything, ethnicity. So that's, we do a lot of ads. That's not true. We also let people like our products, and you know maybe someone would ask where you got this from. We see about 30% of our customers come from word of mouth. But if you have a good product, that can also happen. Yes.
Yeah. So Viraj is having a question. Is He wanted to ask, when you scored very good, it is 99.99, and in CAT, yeah.
In it was
So
99, not 99. It was six something. But in
yeah,
the
but for
yeah,
few people who understand that part, anything above 99 or near to 99 is 99.99 for most of the people. But when we say that you scored so high in CAT, and maybe you would have gotten, maybe I am Lucknow, or if your percentages in your bachelor's were good, you would have got a call from I am ABC also.
yeah.
So was there thought in your mind that let me do an MBA and then maybe start, it will give me a better option?
Absolutely. So it was a thought in my mind. That's the reason I gave the cat. Uh, but for me, I realized I realized after the MBA also I'm mostly going to take a job which will be doing the same thing I'm doing. I wasn't sure, and 2 years in a business is a long time, and I didn't, so I wasn't sure whether those 2 years. In fact, I was convinced at that point that the 2 years I would gain by starting a business would be a much better head start than doing the MBA for 2 years. Now, I do not want to say do not study higher. That's not the take. The take that I'm trying to say is, for me, given that what I was set to do, and from the situation that I was in, this seemed like the better choice. The second lesson here is, it seemed like the better choice to me, and I took it. So that is tough when the world is going to say it's not the better choice. Now, in hindsight, obviously, I knew, okay, it all worked out. But
Yeah.
imagine if it didn't work out. People would not, like, they would not let you forget it. I'm sure about
Yeah.
it.
And in Indian society, they never let you forget that. So every
Anyway,
function, everywhere, that happens. Great. So Purvi Joshi is having a question. The name of your store is so unique. So how did you decide the name?
it's absolutely what a 23-year-old thought at that time. Very deep, much deeper than he had to be. Uh, it was literally, it was, so for us it was very passionate, right? The way we were starting, and we were, for us, so what we thought is, we were quitting our job and following our soul. So that's why we called ourselves the Soul Store. In hindsight, it's really tough to pronounce it, and when you pronounce it, it's very hard for people to understand the spelling of it, to type in the URL. But at that time, we were philosophers of no value, and that's why we started this, called it the Soul Store.
Okay. So do you think, and what is the thing with the logo? I find it very interesting.
So
But
that's the soul.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's the soul. Great. So
Mr.
okay. So we are at 4:58. Will you like to take some more questions, or then we can end it?
Let's just take one more. We can end it after that.
Okay. Let me find a good one then. According to me, from where you get idea. Let's see. Okay. So Khanjan Modi has a very good question. From where did you get this idea of doing a business online? Because at that time, online was no. You were reading the things, you saw the gap, but was there one thing that led? Okay, now let us start this thing, or that was a discussion that all three of you were having for long.
Well, I explained why online for a business
Yeah.
like ours, right? Like, because when you walk in, how many people really understand Harry Potter? For one is
Yeah.
for that. Second, if you know any retail company, take the last 100 retail companies that have shut down. When I mean retail, I mean like brands like us that are offline. All right. The number one reason apparel brands like us that are offline shut down, and out of 100, it will be 95, is because they had a lot of dead inventory. Your inventory cannot be lean when it's there, because let's say if small sizes sold out here, large sizes available there, and it's very tough. Online you can literally touch everyone in India. You I can sell sitting here from Mumbai, I can sell to Guwahati or Ahmedabad for that matter, right? Imagine the effort to do that from an offline perspective. So that's the reason we've started online. We now do have offline stores which are
Yeah.
doing amazingly well, but it's doing well because of the brand that we've built.